Hi everyone, welcome. I'm really excited to be interviewing a very special person today. His name is Odell Manuel. So Odell, I actually met through our children. Adele's daughter goes to my son's school and they share classrooms. And so it's been a bit of a journey, but we've actually, started talking, and his wife mentioned something about Odell doing sport. And at the time I was sharing information on a natural health product. So we kind of just, had a conversation. And so Odell Manuel is actually who I didn't realize, which is quite exciting, but he has a big industry in sport and has had a huge passion for health and sport for many years. So Odell used to play rugby league in a professional manner, and then he moved on into powerlifting. So today I'm going to share and just interview Odell and how using Prett Animal and different products has helped him in his journey. So Odell, we were just saying before about your how you started. How did you start the sporting career?
As in rugby league?
Yeah,
footy?
when you started, yeah.
Yeah, I started when I was 7. My dad, I wouldn't say he forced me into it, but I think, it was just a way of just keeping me motivated. Hopefully, just not staying home. But yeah, I got into it when I was 7. Wasn't good at it. Got taken off the half time. Wasn't good. But as you know, as people that know me closely, I just persevered over the years, and I made my first rep side when I was 11. But to me personally, I didn't really think I played well until I got to about 16. So I thought I was a late bloomer. But yeah, I just kept on. Yeah, I just kept on playing footy. There was a lot of talented players back home because a lot of rugby rules back home is like God, but league's probably the second. So I played that.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that my parents got me into that because I ended up being passionate for the sport, but ultimately later I had to move on because of injury. But yeah, it was good memories with the footy, and I was lucky enough to have really awesome parents to help me get through it.
Wow. So I guess just listening that little piece, I think something that really stood out for me was your perseverance. That you stuck at something even though it wasn't something that you were good at to start with. Isn't that amazing how life can take on if you really commit to learning and growing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. But, I had a lot of awesome mentors, not only in my parents, good coaches, good teammates, and just a lot of people that always, even the guy that owned the dairy up the road, he was an Indian guy. He was really good too. He always used to give me free whatever just to help me along. But he was really good. Yeah. I had a lot of support back in New Zealand and all the people around me. So I was lucky enough there. But when you got that, it makes it a little bit easier.
Makes a huge difference, doesn't it? So you played, is it for the Roosters? What was it? Oh, no, for the Roosters, sorry. Who did you play for in Australia when you moved to Australia?
Oh, I played for the Canberra Raiders when I moved to Australia, but I started playing professional because they're obviously in the Australian Rugby League too, was the New Zealand Warriors. They were the Auckland Warriors back then, but I made that back in '99 when I was 21. But just lucky enough to I wasn't as talented as most of the other guys going through the grades, but I just was one of those guys that turned up to training and played the best I could on game day, but never was as talented as everybody else. But I just stayed in it. Lucky enough to make top footy.
Wow.
Yeah, 99 for the Warriors and played 2 years there and 2 years at the Canberra Raiders, 2001 and 2002.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's around the time when injuries were just too hard to really persevere with that, isn't it?
Well, actually, probably cut a long story short, I actually went missing after 2002. I just wanted a rest. And then I tried to make it back again. And that's what made me move to Rockhampton. The Rockhampton had obviously the Tappers. They got a team in the Queensland Cup, and the Cowboys, which is another NRL side. I couldn't actually go straight in, but they wanted to see me play local, and the only way I could do that was through a local side here, which was the Tappers. Yeah. And I only played 6 games for them, sadly, and I had to retire because the MRI scan showed that I've got osteoarthritis in my knee. And that was in 2006. So I had to retire from the game that I started off and began to love and had to move on.
Wow, and that must have been a challenge to figure out what now, hey? So
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think a lot of the players, even the players that were successful, they went
Yeah.
right into about 35, 37.
Mm.
I think a lot of those guys, even with their perfect careers, well,
Yeah.
successful careers, they find they don't know what to do after. They just get so used to it. And even me, I left early in my career, but I still woke up in the morning thinking I had to go to training, and even though I couldn't run anymore, but
Yeah.
I still adapted that training because even though his dad got me into weights when I was 10,
Yeah.
so I still did weights. And
Mm-hmm.
I know it's probably not a good thing for your knees, but I still did it. And I could actually still do weights on my knees, but I just couldn't run. Running was just really bad. But yeah, I just kept on doing that, and one thing led to another, and then I started doing powerlifting.
Wow. So powerlifting, when did you start competing in powerlifting?
I started competing when I was 31, which was back in 2009.
Wow. So it's been a big journey, more than, about 10
Yeah,
years.
about 10 years. 2009, I
Yeah.
started trying. But I won't lie, I've always been doing weights since I was 10, just not powerlifting training.
Yes.
But I only started powerlifting training when I was 30, coming into 30, and then obviously I started competing at 31. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was something that, and then I grew to love that. It was almost like God gave me something else, another challenge. And,
Yes.
and
It's amazing how he always has our path, doesn't he? He always shows us which way to go when we just don't know, hey?
Yeah, well, obviously, I didn't want to be a powerlifter, but I just found out that I was made for it. Well, the paper said I was made for it anyway when I started doing the weights and all that. But
you got to believe it.
but yeah, no, I just enjoyed it really, and then I always enjoyed the challenges. I think that's why I stayed in it for as long as I did.
So, can you give me a quick, for the last 10 years, what were some of the competitions that you were involved with, and how did you go with them? Like, what did you go through? I know you did the Pro Raw. Is that what it's called? The big dogs?
Yeah, that was later on. But my first comp was in 2009. My first comp was a novice comp. So obviously, as you know, as a beginner comp, I actually did the comp only because the boys said, "Oh, you should do a comp." And then I said, "Oh, well, I'll do one." So I trained for it, ultimately for about 3 months, and then we went to that comp, and we won it. And actually, the total that I did, which is combined of the squat, bench, and deadlift, was a total that I could qualified for the World Championships straight away.
Wow.
So when I saw that, I realized, maybe I can be good at the sport. Maybe I can, give the sport a go. And then the second comp after that, which was the other one, 3 months later, I ended up having the biggest total in Australia history.
Yeah.
So I thought, I think I'll stay in the sport for a little while.
Perfect.
Keep me out of trouble.
So I think I met you when you were busy training for last year's Big Dogs. That was when
2018.
2018. That's when we started the conversation behind looking at different supplements and also what I was sharing with you. And so one thing I will highlight or just mention is that the reason I talked to you was because I knew that oxidative stress, which is how we came to the conversation, is a big part of athletes' lives, because the harder you exercise and the more you push your body, the higher the free radical damage on your cells, and they start negatively impacting your performance, or it could be that you take longer to recover, or there might be some other injuries that start to happen. So I thought this might be something that you could benefit from. And so I think that competition that year you got second, is that right? You competed and got second?
Yeah, we come second, and I was happy enough to get that. I was just unlucky at the end. I just ripped my hand, but that was probably one of the best comps I've did. Really executed all the lifts. Obviously, not the last one. Not the second to last one because of my hand.
Yeah, of course.
But everything else was good. The prep was good, and I did notice a difference with the protein leading into that. I think I got it late too. I didn't get it right from the beginning.
It's I think you only did a month or two's worth there, and then we reapproached the subject when you did this comp, and I think you started looking into it because your knees or your elbows or something was starting to just bother again.
Yeah, of course. As you know, with osteoarthritis, it just doesn't get better. So you're always looking for ways to help to ease the pain. But the Pro Tandem really helped me.
Yeah. And
Especially,
so, yeah.
yeah, no, you're right.
I was going to say, so give us a quick, like, I'd love to, the reason why I want to record this and share with people is, you know, what did you experience by using Prett Animal? What were the things that really stood out for you? Because I remember you sent me a message there a while ago saying about, you know, how it helped you with energy and your, I think your blood pressure at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think the most notable one for me was the gut health, really, for me, because obviously we eat a lot of powerlifters, and you know, and then the body has to shut it down because we eat a lot of protein and all that. But you know, if you can't digest it and all that and break it down so you can get to where it needs to be in the body, you know, it's useless. And I noticed that's what happened. You know, I could eat a lot more, felt a lot lighter. Believe it or not, even I was a lot bigger than a lot of other guys, but I felt a lot lighter, as you know. But yeah, and as well as you know, helping with the joints too. You know, like I was still, you know, I was still on painkillers before the anti-inflammatories, but I could still feel it. But once I took the Pro Tandem, it actually, to the point sometimes I couldn't feel it. So it just bridged that gap. But in saying that, you know, maybe next time I have to. Oh, well, probably won't be next time with powerlifting, but and I'm still training now. But maybe I should just stop the anti-inflammatories and see how it goes. Just full out, just give it a chance. I think the Pro Tandem, I admit, I probably didn't let it do its full job, and it still helped me. Because you know, I still, you know, I admit, you know, like as a powerlifter, you know, you eat well, but then you know, you get naughty and you want to have, you know, the sugary foods and all that. And, you know, you're not giving them no justice there, you know, like everybody knows that sugar, you know, it's no good for you and it inflames the body. But even with that that excess sugar and all that, I can still feel a difference with the Pro Tandem working. So
that's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Wow. And so thank you for sharing that. And I know your last competition, so you actually retired from powerlifting just recently. So you did your last competition last year, and I remember your whole family went down and your mum came over from New Zealand. How did it go? Do you want to share just, you know, what were your lifts? I was quite, you know, excited for you to cheer you on through that journey.
Oh, well, the last comp I did, you know, was actually probably the worst comp I did, but we won. But you know, praise the Lord for that. But it was probably my worst comp I did. But we still set a record for Australian record in the squat, which is 470. I've actually before that, because you get 3 attempts. The 2 attempts before that, well, the second before that I got, but the first one actually fell on my face with 440. So. It was quite interesting with that, you know. You start doubting yourself, but you know, sometimes you just have to dig deep. But yeah, we were lucky enough to finish off with 470 and go onto the bench and do. I actually didn't get a PB with the bench, but we still done the bench and we got through the deadlifts and we won the comp. But that was the ultimate goal. But and it was good to roll out on that. But who knows? You know, I'm still training now, but. I really retired just so I can have more time with my family. But who knows? But a lot of people want me to come back, but I might have to do a triple dose my Pro Tandem, and we'll see how we go.
It might work.
No. Well, like I said, I know there's other products that you've got too, Taliti, and we'll see how we go there. But I think with the Pro Tandem at the moment, and obviously I have to double dose it because of my size. But yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Well, look, I just want to congratulate you for your last win. You know, retiring on a win is definitely something that is, you know, well respected in your community. And I know that the competition was fierce. I remember Sharon saying it's a very tough competition. So
it's
still
Believe it, I was actually one of the smaller. Oh, actually, one of the guys that come third was a smaller, but. In general, I'm normally the smaller guy, one of the smaller guys down there. There's a lot of big Americans and Russians. And but it's humbling to go there and win for. Obviously, I'm Kiwi, but like represent Australia, it's a true honour. You know, they've been really good to me.
One question: did you experience anything with recovery at all? Like, did you find you were recovered quicker at all? Like, it's just a question.
That was it, my friend. You know, once the gut health. You know, once it helped me with my, you know, my digestion with the protein and all that, that's how you recover. So I suppose I didn't add to that what I just said before. It did help with recovery because I felt a lot lighter, and then I if the body can break down, you can eat more, and then you eat more, you get stronger. So I'm sorry I didn't mention that, but it did help with recovery.
I'm just always curious to ask, because it's something that we know that when you switch on your body, when this pathway is switched on, which is what you were doing, it actually ups your glutathione production. And so glutathione is very big responsible for recovery, and especially muscle recovery. So it's interesting to hear how that is in a practical sense for athletes using these products to see if it helps with recovery and on the muscle especially.
Yeah, well, you were teaching me. All I know was what I was doing, how I felt. But you were teaching me. It was really educational for me how you broke it down. And is that what that is? Probably didn't remember it because it was too much for me to handle. But
look, you were doing so hard. Yeah, you're working hard.
No. Just when you were explaining
it. Yes,
like, take it. I was taking it in, but it was.
There's so much information.
I didn't know. I said, if I felt like that, that was the reason why I felt like that. But it was. It did help with recovery, my friend, and
thank
truly
you.
Grateful.
Adele, thank you so much for sharing your journey. I really, really appreciate the time you've put apart for this little testimony. And I know many people are going to be able to share this and look back on this. Once I have it up and onto YouTube, I'm going to share it with you, and that way you've got that testimony as well. And if you want to share that with people, it might be a part of your journey.
All good, my friend. No, thank you very much, and all the best. And I'll see you around anyway.
Definitely.
Just down the road.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day.